In this video, I compiled a comprehensive list of all the resources I used at GCSE to get top grades. So keep watching to find out what the best apps, websites and textbooks are for you to ace this GCSE exam season. Timestamps will be linked down in the description below, so feel free to skip around as necessary throughout the video. So first up, I'm going to discuss English literature and language, and this wasn't as weak a subject for me, so I didn't use as many resources, but the resources I did use were mainly YouTube channels, and my favorites were Mr. Bruff, Mr. Everything English, and Mr. Sal's. I will say I probably found the Mr. Sal's videos the best in terms of how he went through the stuff, his really good summaries, and how he discussed example essays. And honestly, it was probably one of my favorite channels to watch when it came to English. Mr. Everything English was also very good, and then Mr. Bruff, I will say I found it really weird because a lot of my English teachers didn't really like Mr. Bruff's channel, but he was also another really good YouTuber when it came to doing summaries and quick videos. So yeah, YouTube was one of my big sources of English lit and language revision. I did very few times use Spark Notes as another resource. It summarizes everything and it has abridged versions and like quotes and stuff that you can use. But mainly for English lit and lang, I'll say the best resources out there are YouTube channels. So maths was probably one of my weakest subjects when it came to GCSE, and there were so many resources that I went through and tried to find ones that stick, and the two that worked best for me at least were Corbett Maths and GCSE MathsTutor. Corbett Maths you might have heard of, is really widely known and like well used by teachers as well, but the reason I found their questions so useful is because they had a lot of simpler and mid-tier questions when it came to topics I didn't really understand, and his YouTube videos, I really liked his accent, and honestly the way he explained stuff was really useful. But then later on, like about 5 to 6 months before the actual exams, I came across a channel called GCSE MathsTutor, and I think his videos even probably excelled over Corbett Maths. The way he explained stuff and like in terms of the questions that he offered, his channel was probably one of the best resources when it came to GCSE maths for me. And then along with that, closer up to the exams, I think he did predicted papers that you could download and then do questions of, and then were really similar to the questions that came up in the actual paper. So all in all, I found those two resources the best when it came to maths. So yeah, those were the two maths resources that I used, and hopefully you guys find them equally as helpful. Now for GCSE science, there are some really obvious resources that I will discuss later on in this video, but the ones that I found were less obvious and equally kind of as useful because I came across them doing homework or getting tasks set on them or just watching their YouTube videos. The first one I'd say was quite useful was Isaac Physics, and we mainly got set homework tasks on Isaac Physics, but they were honestly quite useful in terms of doing loads and loads of questions. The only thing that I kind of find annoying with them was that you had to be really precise when it came to the answer or they wouldn't accept it. And then another two YouTube channels that I found really useful when it came to science was one, Primrose Kitten, and then two, Snap Revise. Like Primrose Kitten would have these really good videos where it would go through the entirety of the spec and like the subject in 3 and 4 hours or something. And if you have the time to sit through and watch them, those videos are really useful. Then Snap Revise was equally as good for doing those shorter 2 to 5 minute videos on a specific topic, and I found their videos probably more useful than the Primrose Kitten ones. And I'll talk more about GCSE science later on in the video and the resources that I use the most, because there is the big one that I haven't talked about. Now for GCSE languages, I have a bit of experience because I did French and German, which was a bit of a mistake, I will say. But yeah, I have experience when it comes to resources, and again, there were so many out there that there's like a lot to go through. But my top one when it came to any sort of vocab was of course Quizlet, and everyone knows Quizlet because it's the best resource out there to do vocab. And then other stuff that I found or other websites that I found were really useful. One of them was called Languages Online or Languages Online Extra, and we got homework set on that website. So there were a lot of quizzes and like things and tasks that you could do, and just like cheat sheets to go through and see how ER verbs or RE verbs work. But then I'd say the last resource that everyone discusses when it comes to languages is Duolingo, but I don't think it's as good when it comes to doing specification specific topics and concepts. Now for the last subject group, which is humanities, I don't know that much about geography, so I'm going to mainly discuss history in this video. But for history, I watched a lot of documentaries and like YouTube videos and read Wikipedia articles, and I found the subject interesting at least, so there was a lot I liked going through and watching and then finding like new things that I could discuss in my essays. So more so I watched YouTube videos when it came to doing GCSE history topics. So Weimar, Nazi Germany, Henry VIII. The channel I watched the most videos discussing the different topics of was a channel called Oversimplified. If you haven't heard of his channel before, he's really funny, and all the videos are animated in like a really nice style, and it's of course oversimplified. It is a bit simplified in terms of the information you have and you get, but it's a fun way to do revision, and it doesn't really feel like you're doing revision because you're sitting back and watching a YouTube video. Check that channel out as a GCSE history resource, like an alternative other than your textbook. But the other resource that I used a lot of was BBC Bite Size, and that's where I got all my information from, and I converted the information I found on the website into flashcards and then revised the flashcards. Or I know that you can get these timelines and print them out, so if you come across those, I know revising timelines can be useful because of the different events that happen. So that's another resource that you could search up for online. Now, the resource that I was like hinting towards in the GCSE science section was Physics&MathsTutor, and of course everyone knows this was coming because it's like the most general resource out there. There's like 7 different subjects on the website. So yeah, in terms of any sort of revision, that was the website I used the most. But apart from that, another website I used a lot of was Revision World / Revision Science. Again, mainly for the past papers they had. They were like another way of accessing the ones from like a few years ago. But then also Save My Exams. If you do have access to like the full course, they have even better notes than Physics&MathsTutor. So that's another website I used that again is general and can be used for loads of different subjects. Now, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it useful, and if you did, please like, share, comment and subscribe. And also, if you want to find out how to get a grade 9 in GCSE Maths, then check out this video above me now. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week with a brand new one. Bye for now.